Hey, Stu here from UAVfutures, and welcome to another episode of Tech Tuesday, where every Tuesday we get together, we talk about some new, exciting, or just different things in the FPV drone racing world. And today, the bit of technology that we're checking out is this right here. This is the Runcam Split Mini. Now, essentially, what this does, it's your FPV camera. You can watch my original review of the Split. I'll leave that up here. But this thing also records in HD, and it's been really miniaturized, microized. I don't know how you say that, but it's been really shrunk down. And what I want to try and do, we're going to be sitting on the bench breaking it down, and then I also want to put it in my ET125. You can go watch that review up here because I really love this drone. We'll fly it around, and I'm hoping I can have a nice little 3-inch that also records in some great HD as well, so we can get some great HD footage when we're flying around. We'll be able to put it in here and see just how it goes. Anyway, what we should do, let's stick the Split on the bench from Runcam and see how it goes. Alright, let's do it. Alrighty, here it is on the bench, and look, there's not going to be too much I can talk about this review because look, it's still the Split. It records in 1080p, it's got 130-degree field of view when you're actually flying around. It records a little bit larger with the HD footage. You put your SD card in there, all that sort of stuff, but you can see they've made some massive improvements from the original. You can see just how dirty this one is. It's taken an absolute beating, and I've flown around. This is the original one. You would have seen that link at the start, but you know, it's doing the same thing, but it's shrunk down even more. And I'm really excited for that because look, the Split performs best when you can actually put it in some small builds, you know, when you don't have much space or you want to save a lot of weight. Now what we should do, let's stick it on the scales, find out how much it weighs. And the whole thing, it's coming in at about 14 grams. So there we go, I'm going to take it off, and you will notice one difference is this thing, it actually clicks together with this little part. So no longer is it one board, because in order to fit it by this 20 by 20 sort of size stack, you actually need to clip it together and put some little standoffs and all that sort of stuff in here. I've got them in here, they come with it. I'm going to be building it in a little bit and putting it in my ET125, but that's essentially, they just clip together. And then you've got almost like a double stack. So if you're building something and you're a bit height conscious, do note that this one's going to be a little bit taller than some of the other Split builds that you see out there. Anyway, look, there's not really too much I can say. You know, HD recorder and FPV camera, same as a Split one, just getting smaller, all that sort of stuff. You put your SD card in there, yada yada yada. Let's do the fun stuff. Let's put it into a build, and I want to show you, look, how it went, and then show you the important stuff. How does it actually record when we're flying it around? So let's cut to what it looks like when I've got it installed in my build. In 3, 2, 1. Rightio, Stuart, there's 2 quads. What's going on there? Well, that part was a little bit frustrating because I did want to put it in this one right here, the ET125, but I just didn't have enough space vertically, so it started to clip into the camera and that sort of stuff. So look, I'm not going to be putting it in this micro one, but on the same thing, the Split might be really good for some of those quads who are trying to save a lot of weight. So what I've got here, this is the Norris. We did just have a little micro camera, a little Runcam Swift in the front right here, but I thought, well, this is going to be a perfect one because not only people might want to put it in this, they might want to put it in some of those ultralight or really quick races out there and still get some HD footage. So you can see I've just simply installed it in. Look, it's not the best. I sort of just crammed it in there. It's got a nice little, it's still got access to the SD card, all that sort of stuff. If I was building this from scratch, I would mount it a lot better, and it's probably made better for those smaller boards, all that sort of stuff. But this one right here, we're still going to be able to take it out, fly it around, and see just how it goes. And we'll check and see if there's any latency or that sort of stuff, because I can really see a market for this. I mean, if you're just putting that board in there and you're going to go out to the races, you're still going to get some pretty good footage. It means you don't have to carry a GoPro, so you can go a lot faster, all that sort of stuff, still be really nimble, but record some great footage. So that's exactly what we're going to do now. Sorry it's not in here for the micros. You're going to need a little bit more room than I was planning, but it is still going to be great if you've got enough room, or if you want to build an ultralight like this and get some great footage. So let's cut out and rip it around and see what it's like in the field as well in 3, 2, 1. Boop. Okie dokie, here we go. And Stuart, yes, we're actually chasing some wing action, which was a ton of fun. Shout out to Tony as well. And you got to forgive me with my wing following skills. I haven't done it too much, and it does take a little bit to get used to, I guess, how they fly versus how quads fly. I find it much easier chasing quads. So here it was sort of going all over the shop, and it was kind of tricky to track it using a quad. Anyway, as you can see, we're going to talk about the colors and all that sort of stuff, and then we will jump over to, so I guess when I'm ripping it a bit harder, we'll talk about the latency. And I've also turned the sound right down, so it does record sound, but I found it a little bit annoying. The sound isn't as good as a GoPro or anything like that. But the part we're interested in, how does it actually go with the recording? And I guess you guys are going to be the judge for that. But for me, I was really happy with it. I was really happy with the colors. The FPV feed looks great, and I was really impressed because this is exactly what us racers want. You know, we want a quad
where we can put this on, we can record, get some HD action without, I lost the plane there, without having to stick a GoPro on the top. Now look, it's not going to be made for everyone. I do think the GoPro is going to be better in a lot of circumstances, but for this one, for those either, I guess, the weight conscious quads, this thing is a godsend. Whether you want it on a really, really small quad that traditionally just can't even carry a GoPro, or whether you want it on an ultralight racer, this thing, it's going to be fantastic. Now, one of the other things I really like about this is they've done a great job, because I know the Eachine stacks and some of those other like sort of recorders, they don't fit too well in your traditional quad builds, but this one, because it's the same size as the other micro quads, the other micro cameras, this thing, it's just perfect because it fits. That's a bit of a close call there. It just fits really well, so you don't have to do anything extra to fit it into your build. And I guess the only thing you really need to take into consideration, oh, and I'm sorry, Tony, sorry about that, mate. The only thing you do need to take into consideration is, I guess, that vertical stack height. Alrighty, so now here's another wing. I can't believe it. These two different people turned up at two different times. We had Jono and Tony, and they both had different wings. So I guess it was a wing chasing day. I'm going to have to call Jono. He used to be the wingman, but we should just call him duct tape Jono, because that's how he was holding his planes together. By the end of the day, he was just smashing them into the ground. It was quite funny to see how much of a beating they can take. And I've got to say here, the lens actually starts to unscrew. So this is where we're going to talk about the latency. But that's my bad, because that's my user error, because I didn't screw it in tight enough from when I originally tried to mount it in the ET, and I didn't put the lens back in. So here we're really testing the latency, but it's going to go, I guess, a little bit out of focus, as sort of you'd expect from a loose lens. But I'm happy to say I didn't notice any latency whatsoever. So if you're a racer out there and you're worried, is this going to negatively impact your flight experience or your reactions? Absolutely not. In my experience, this thing, it was rock solid, and it felt just like a normal FPV camera, which is exactly what we want, which is great news for us racers out there as well. You can see the lens is definitely out of focus, and the only thing in focus now is our motors, which does take a bit to get used to.
Alrighty, so there it is. There's my Tech Tuesday. A quick look at the Runcam, a micro split, and overall, it does its job really, really well. I was a big fan of the original split, but this one, look, they understand its market. It's either got to be for really small quads where it can't carry a GoPro, or it's got to be for quads where it can, but they don't want to carry a GoPro, like an ultralight or a really quick racer or something like that. Now, the recording quality, it's not as good of a GoPro, so I'm not going to be probably putting one on my Chameleon or something like that. But if you're out there and you've got an ultralight racer, well, the board doesn't really weigh that much more or whatsoever. The quality is still really, really good. I didn't notice any latency. And or on the other hand, if you've got a really little micro you want to put it in, and you kind of do need to find the room, but you can put it in a micro, you're going to get some great footage that otherwise on a quad that wouldn't normally carry that sort of weight around. Anyway, what do you guys think? Drop your comments down below. I'm definitely a big fan, especially if you've got to weigh up the cost of like a GoPro versus just getting this anyway. You get your FPV camera included, and you can record some HD footage. I'm a big fan. You guys always bang on about how I say the word HD. Anyway, I guess that's just how we say it down here. Subscribe for more FPV related content. A massive shout out to my Patreon supporters, because look, I've got a bonus split I'm going to be sending out to one of you guys. I'm going to throw that in the prize pool. Seems like we're getting a lot of cool stuff in there for my Patreon supporters, so it feels great to give back to the people that let me do this channel. So definitely stay tuned for that. Good luck to everyone over on Patreon, and as always, happy flying. Tony, sorry I clipped your wing. My bad, mate. But for everybody else, I've since found out the wing's fine, it's back up, and it's flying. So it wasn't a total disaster. But it was a lot of fun chasing around, mate. We've got to do it again. Anyway, happy flying. What happened there, Tony?
Oh, I was attacked by a killer drone.
All right. I actually did see that Stu did attack you.
Yeah, I think that one was me.
Looks like there's a few bits there, so you feet in front.
Still almost looks in one piece.
I reckon that other bit's my quad.
No, you're over there.
Oh, it's nothing hot glue won't fix. Oh, she's good to fly. What's wrong with you? Look. I'll flip it over. It's only a small. It's.
Oh, gee.
It's just a nick. It's just a nick.
What do you call this one? Because it did look really good in the air. What's this one called?
This is the Sonic Model AR. And hopefully she'll be good to fly still. We're going to put it back together. And I reckon these sorts of things, Stu, are invincible. So, let's stick all that back in now. Even with that.
Well, you nearly cut the wing off.
No, it's a graze. Oh, it's a little bit of a nick out the prop too. That might affect the balance of the prop, Stu.
Hang on it.
We'll have to watch the replay, and I'm going to say, yeah, that was probably me.
Oh, there's a bit of a crack in there. Nothing hot glue won't fix, Stu. Oh, it's still flying, still. I reckon she'll still fly, Stu.
That scares me. Or are you going to launch it from here?
What the hell?
Alright. What do you reckon, Trevor? Is it going to go or no?
Oh, first thing, this thing's bulletproof.
All right, here we go.
I mean, you're trying to kill it twice.
Here it comes.
Flight characteristics are somewhat impaired.
Gee, it does well when it's going slow, doesn't it?
Doesn't do too bad.
Well, to be honest, I don't know too much about wings, right? I'm just saying it looks good when it was going slow. Still look fairly stable.
That's all right.
Yep. Let's get your best landing over here.
All right.
How close can he go? Oh. Yeah, what was that? Oh.
Oh, watch the speed out.
Yep. It's hovering.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, well done.
Still alive.
Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and check out these videos. And I'm also going to leave a little link here to my Patreon page because I've got some fantastic Patreon supporters and I like to give back to them as well. So if you want to join the UAVfutures family, there's things like bonus Velcro straps, little bundles of FPV goodies and things like that that also get sent out. Anyway, happy flying.